Welcome to another installment of the Hogue News video update here in Sacramento. Good to have you on this Monday after a beautiful Independence Day weekend. Let's get you caught up on a couple of things here, some commentary. Number one, the budget. Number two, Sarah Palin. And number three, who's a little bit offshore? Is it Meg Whitman or Steve Poizner? All three of these topics right here at HogueNews.com, but primarily the Palin story and the offshore story and grabbing a lot of the attention today. On the budget first, not much news from the weekend. There were meetings over the week and the weekend. There was a Sunday impasse because the governor wants reforms. For the first time since 2005, Schwarzenegger is talking about reforms and no new taxes. He wants to look at the state's welfare system, the Healthy Families Service, as well as the in-home caregivers, and he's concerned about waste and fraud. And so he has a couple of ideas on how to get rid of the waste and prevent the fraud as far as background checks and better money flow and some cuts here and over there. And so he is standing strong on reform. He's also talking about the two-tier system for state workers. Any new hires will have a different rate as it relates to their pension and, of course, their benefits. And boy, that doesn't make the Democrats happy at all, not to mention the purple shirts and the state workers' unions. But he's being tough. He's standing strong right there. As a matter of fact, he met with just the Republicans over the weekend. Dennis Hollingsworth on the state Senate side and Sam Blakesley on the Assembly side, and didn't include the Democrats. That's the first in a long time that we've had Arnold Schwarzenegger meeting with just Republicans on negotiations on a budget deal. He's also saying no new taxes. Republicans are saying the same, which caused Karen Bass over the weekend to walk out of a Big Five meeting. She was mad, simply saying that she's very discouraged by the flow of things, and the governor, he broke it, so he's going to have to fix it. So Karen Bass was upset, and she made some news. News that didn't happen over the weekend, Darrell Steinberg. We told you last Friday that I thought there was a coup attempt going on in the state Senate side, their caucus, the Democrats. And over the weekend, you had no quotes by the pro tem. You had no press conferences, no TV appearances, no radio appearances by Darrell Steinberg. Now, it's a holiday. He might have gotten away a little bit, but kind of peculiar for the lead man for the Democrats in the state Senate side, the pro tem, not to have quotes over the weekend as it relates to the budget. So you tell me. I could be wrong. I may be proved wrong that there was no coup, but I still believe, and you can read the article here, that last Friday Darrell Steinberg survived a coup attempt inside of the state Senate. More on the budget. The Gov would like to trim back on Prop 98, maybe save about $3 billion on the guaranteed mandate of educational funding. And I told you about the fact he's meeting with Republicans, and of course they were both in session today, both sides, the red carpet, state Senate, green carpet assembly, and not much was done on the budget today. There's a new deadline, and it's coming up this Thursday. After Thursday, the banks are saying they won't offer their credit toward the IOUs here in the state of California. So you got this week and a brand new deadline. That's your budget news. On the other story, Sarah Palin, I put together a piece that we talked about in the Capitol Hour today, entitled The Sarah Palin Strategy, Build a New House, kind of playing off of the Fleetwood Mac song, Sarah, and what she could do if indeed this is a serious attempt to get her ready for the presidential race. Sarah Palin is conservative. Sarah Palin is the #1 marquee name in the Republican Party as it relates to the core, staunch conservative vote. The issue for Sarah is she's not ready yet. And so can they get her ready in 18 months or 2 years? I say yes with 6 points. She needs to get out of Alaska. She needs to be free to travel the world and get some international chops. She should enter media school. She needs to be touched by the masses once again, and they got to touch her. She needs to raise money, and she needs to be seen as professional, prepared, and polished, which she hasn't been. I think it's a pretty good piece. A lot of people are pulling it down and reading it today, so check that out. Another interesting find, I went back to Steve Poizner, insurance commissioner now, back to his 2004 assembly race, and found a quote from Steve Poizner as it relates to offshore drilling here in California. It was from his campaign website, where he simply said that as your assemblyman, I'll protect our coastline by leading the call for a permanent ban on all oil drilling in California's coastal waters, end quote. Steve Poizner. So I'm asking the question, who is a little offshore? And right now it seems to be Meg Whitman versus Steve Poizner, until Steve comes out and says that he has changed his permanent stance as it relates to offshore drilling in California. Why is this important? After we get this budget deal, we're going to have to find the next it. And the next it is innovation. And it's not green technology, it's not environmental technology, it's going to have to be innovation that makes sense. Jobs, revenue to the state, and manufacturing and business back in California with the, lowering some of the regulations. That to me is offshore drilling. Twofold. Offshore drilling, the oil, high demand, and of course a commodity that's deeply desired, if not we're addicted to it. You can tone down the foreign dependency. And thirdly, we could create technology and build the platforms with environmental technology by manufacturing these platforms in California with oil companies who would love to come back home, who have the money to invest in California, and would put people back to work, maybe 30,000, 35,000 jobs in 1 year. Read that story. Who is a little offshore, Meg or Steve? That's also right here at HogueNews.com. If you're in the Sacramento area, come on out Wednesday. We're broadcasting live at Leatherby's. That's Arden and Bell, the intersection right there. A little ice cream and sandwich for lunch. We're bringing some politicos out for the Capitol Hour at 12 noon on Wednesday. Other than that, sign up for the newsletter, the email alert, check out our postings 24/7, and more Hogue News video updates just like this, all right here on the ever-growing HogueNews.com. Until there's more news on the budget, we'll leave it at that. Check back in. They're constantly churning down there in the belly of the beast. That bill mill is active right now because as of today, we're nearly $27 billion in the hole, and our cash flow has us underneath by about $43 billion, and that price tag will come January 1, 2010. So it's never done, even though they say they're done here in Sacramento. Eric Hogue with you right here exclusively on HogueNews.com. We'll check back in later on.